Look at this video. And this one. What about this one? These are all AI-generated people or influencers.
This avatar is AI generated.
It's getting harder and harder to distinguish the difference between real or digital. And AI influencers have been apparently at the front line of stealing the reality from us without us even knowing. So I wanted to check what's the big deal about those AI influencers, and should we be afraid? Are these virtual influencers really starting to mess with our reality? And what could be the consequences of that?
Facebook prompted ethnic genocide.
Rohingya Muslim villages were ransacked, people were murdered.
With AI, I can set it up to meet my preference.
I see huge issues with the rise of AI models and influencers. They're setting an unrealistic beauty standard.
So let me tell you a story about the new era of AI influencers. Before we go any deeper into this topic, we first need to understand what is AI influencer and why is it better than human, or is it? When you go on Instagram, TikTok or YouTube, you can see thousands of influencers, from tech to beauty, from car makers to health guru. But what is starting to creep in are those kind of images. At the first glance, they look pretty nice. Nice background, happy faces. But all these are AI influencers, models and ambassadors. Creators in companies like Clueless, for example, they're starting to build AI influencers, models that can easily replace us. Qatar Airways just introduced a new virtual cabin crew. She's basically an AI ambassador. Even countries like Germany introduced their AI travel influencer, but that came with some backlash. But why companies are creating those virtual people? Are they actually better than us? Well, first of all, let's look at money. Real influencers can charge crazy amounts, and some brands pay up to $250,000 per post. AI influencer with a 2.6 million Instagram followers can charge just a small portion of that. And that is a huge difference. I even checked this on a simple Instagram pricing calculator, and someone like Peter McKinnon with 3.3 million followers can charge up to $23,000 per post. That's more than twice what AI influencer can charge. So yeah, AI influencers are cheaper. But of course, prices are determined on how much time you spend on something, right? And so the next thing would be time. It will take a day or maybe even a week for a real person to create a post. Because sometimes we just need to plan a shoot, edit the images, or maybe we just don't feel creative enough today. But also, company might not like your post. They might ask you to change it, and the worst scenario, not collaborate with you again. But with AI, it can take minutes to produce different poses and environments. Not mentioning that companies don't have to even send you the real product. Creators can just add them digitally. So the time from initial idea to final image or post is much shorter. And this brings us to the last point of this chapter, which is customizability. Due to AI influencer customizability, brands prefer to use them as endorsements. In fact, around 48% of markets integrate AI into their marketing efforts regularly. AI influencers' success in the marketing realm is achieved through effective engagement and personalized content. Creators tailor these AI characters' behaviors and characteristics to match a brand's voice and target market. And when we compare this to our real influencers, well, we can't really customize real people, right? The real person might not be so optimistic and willing to be controlled by a company. So at any of these levels, AI influencers are just better, more efficient, and can produce better results. Are we actually going through the industrial revolution of 21st century? The same way that steam and coal machines replaced a lot of manual jobs in 19th century, influencers are starting to be replaced with the next best thing. But with any new technology, idea, or revolution comes risks and potential threats. And now that we understand and know how AI influencers work and what they are able to do, let's elaborate on some potential risks and how these virtual faces could be used for not so great stuff. First potential risk would be about shaping our reality. We all know how much impact one person hiding behind a computer can do. We also know the impact that social media has on young people and how reality is very different from photos and videos we see on Instagram. But there is worst side of this. Let's imagine a terrorist group or some kind of militia that could exploit this and create AI influencer who's able to promote fake news and spread dangerous messages, which could lead to unwanted protests, violence, or worse, war. Shaping of reality, whether that's through violence or distorted imagery, could be dangerous and can result in misinformation. And this is already happening in social media. And Facebook is the best example of how social media and bending reality can affect everyday person.
Facebook was accused of playing a determining role in grave crimes.
Between 2016 and 2017, Myanmar military killed almost 43,000 Rohingya Muslims. And that's because of simple posts on Facebook. Military leaders exploited Facebook's wide reach in Myanmar, where it is so broadly used by 80 million people. Military leaders were posting violent imagery, hate speech against Rohingya people. That led to massive genocide, and some even call it ethnic cleansing. Military and local Rakhine population, who saw those violent posts, killed at least 25,000 Rohingya people and committed sexual violence against 80,000 women and girls. And 36,000 were thrown into fires. This resulted in huge migrations to countries like Bangladesh and led to creating one of the biggest refugee camps in the world. This story is much bigger, but this is just one very extreme example of how social media, but also AI influencers, could be used as a tool for violence. Terrorist groups or even military can use this to influence people in new ways. But this next potential risk could be as dangerous as the previous one. What if I told you that less and less people want to create real connections and rather start their relationships with virtual people? People in Japan, South Korea, and Asia overall are getting married to movie characters and AI partners. Virtual lovers and virtual marriages are starting to creep into our lives, and transforming AI influencers into AI partners? Could this mean that many people may just opt for virtual love? And we may say this isn't a threat or anything. People are just doing their thing. But I think we need to take a look why this is an issue and what are the consequences. And I think there are a few that caught my eye. Virtual relationships can have a massive impact on people. And we can see that especially in countries like China, Japan, and South Korea, where fertility dropped, but the use of virtual lovers rise. We don't have enough data to confirm that this is affected by virtual relationships, but we can definitely see some correlations in countries where virtual relationships are more common. For men, there are many factors that pushes them to invest in virtual relationships, like cost of raising children and family, pressures of work and pace of life, which is way too fast for today's young people to commit to serious, real relationship. And for women, the significant rise of crime and domestic violence could be one of the main reasons. They are looking for just more safer options. AI partner is just better, some people say. But Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore has the lowest rate of babies born in the world at 2.2%, compared with the UK's 47%. And many may say that this is a good thing. We already see how the world is overpopulated, and maybe this is the answer for this problem. But for the long run, that could be dangerous for the country's growth, economy, and human life itself. And could we really feel fulfilled by AI partner? Or could this push us even deeper into loneliness and isolation? AI avatars, influencers, and lovers can definitely make this market more realistic. And that brings us to the final potential risk. For a few years now, we know that AI is a huge threat when it comes to creativity and the way art, film, music, and overall art is being made. TikTok already introduced Symphony, where companies can create their own AI influencers or avatars to create art. But there's many more different apps or websites. Companies like Clueless AI, who created AI influencer like Aitana, are starting to create AI models. This can easily affect modeling industry where models are no longer needed, because real model will never be as perfect as AI model. They don't need clothes with a specific size, or photo shoot that takes sometimes 3 days with a photographer, lights, and renting a studio. All this saves a lot of money for companies that are trying to squeeze the most amount of profit. But this threat touches creating itself. something so fundamental for humans. Since the beginning of humanity, humans always created something, but AI is questioning this. To explain what I mean, let's look at this graph. This graph represents a simplified version of how humans create things, from artworks to cars, and even apps of software. First, we have an idea of what we want to create. We might do a mind map, write ideas in bullet points, and so on. After our initial idea, we need to create the video. So we do a research, write a script, we shoot, edit, color grade, so that finally we have this final outcome in the form of a video. But when we introduce AI to this structure, we no longer need the creating part. And so this question emerges: what is the point of creating if AI replaces this huge chunk of creative process? Will the new ways of creating make our content more tangible, or will it be shallow without any real connections? I guess this potential risk will be different for each of us, and we would have to answer this question individually. I can see potential new jobs and new ways of creating videos or art, but you may see it as a threat. So definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think. Of course, these are all potential and for now not real threats, but it doesn't mean that these things can't evolve. I would hate to finish this video on a bad note, so I'll say this. There was a revolution when photography was invented. People thought that paintings will no longer be needed, and we were so wrong. Painting evolved into breathtaking new impressionistic movement, and we admire this art till this day. And we saw the same hype with NFTs as well. But now, prices of NFTs are at the all-time low. And so the same question arises with those AI influencers. Will they stay with us, or will we see a quick decline after the hype is gone? How should I end this video?
To wrap up your video, you can summarize the main takeaways and encourage viewers to like, comment, and subscribe.